Hello everybody. Today we will look into the finite element modeling of the fluid flow problems. Actually, we have already done this heat conduction problem, the what we can develop some kind of the finite element based model also. Now try to look into the fluid flow problem also. It is mostly associated with the fusion rolling process. Maybe it is confined into a very small zone. If you understand the fusion rolling process, there is a small oil pool. So, within that oil pool there is a material flow. So, significance of the material flow I have already explained these things, because definitely when there is a look into effect of the surface active elements, then there is a need to understand the fluid flow particular associated with the fusion rolling process also. So, from that perspective we will try to look into the fluid flow. First we will cover the basic formulation, this governing equation of the fluid flow problem, and then we will try to look into that what we can discretize in the particular governing equation, and then what you can develop particular element, how we can form this elemental matrix also. This is the basic objective of this today's this particular module, but details analysis of the fluid flow and in overall the broad idea of the finite element formulation of the fluid flow, there is one separate module. So, in that particular module we will discuss about the details of the fluid flow problem also, but in this particular module we will try to look into the basics of fundamentals of towards the what we can convert to the look into the finite element formulation for a particular element, that we will try to look. So, to start with this, first we will look into how basic governing equation of the fluid flow are in the normally develop. So, there is a, if you look into this basic aspects associated with the fluid flow also, the first is the continuity equation, momentum equation, even also energy conservation equation, as well as the condition for irrotationality. This is basically associated with this basic fluid flow governing equation, but we will not discuss about the condition of the irrotationality. So, that may be we try to look into only the conservation of the mass, momentum and energy equation, how it forms in associated with the fluid flow phenomena. Now, to understand this basic governing equation, we have to consider for one small element. We can see that it is a control volume. Within this control volume, what is the different phenomena, phenomenological things we normally express in the mathematical form also. So, in terms of the stress also, even when we do for stress analysis, we consider a small element, and with that element what are the different stress components is acting. So, with the similar concept we will be using here also to develop the continuity equation as well as the momentum equation, and even for energy equation also. So, now say this is the small element, and in this particular element we define the Cartesian coordinate system x, y and z direction. So, this x, y and z direction, and this element on the element if you define the different stress components, because if you look into the sigma y, sigma x and sigma z all actually acting on the faces, and then normal to the faces the normal stress is acting, that is represented by either sigma x, sigma y or sigma z, and remaining other two are the which is parallel to the surface, that is defined as a shear stress component. So, all these normal stress, shear stress components we can see even also. Now, we consider let us look into one particular direction, x direction. So, this is the face, one faces there is a velocity, fluid velocity, for example this is u, it is entering to the control volume as the velocity u and uniform throughout these faces also, and then exit this thing u plus, so maybe del u by del x into dx, because dx is the length along the x axis. So, this elemental length that we have already defined, this is the dx. So, similar way, so here see we assuming there is a change of the velocity in between, once is entering the fluid velocity on the face of the within the control volume, that is the velocity u, but inside this control volume there may be change of the velocity field, and that changes we can mathematical form we can write. So, del u by del x, so whatever changing with respect to the along the x axis. So, del u by del x, and this is happening, this changing happening over the, or you can say this gradient also del u by del x in this thing, but this is happening over the length, elemental length dx. So, that is why when it exits from this other faces also within this control volume, then we can see the u plus del u by del x into dx. So, this corresponds to the along the x axis. So, similar kind of expression we can write in the along the y axis, even along the z axis also. So, similar way, if you see the stresses also acting this one particular and one particular phases, if you see the stress also acting, for example, we are showing only the z direction. So, state of the stress can be like that tau z y. This is the stress components, shear stress components on the z phase, normal to the z axis, and then this is the changes actually del, that change of the stress state with respect to del z into dz, because this is happening along the z direction over the elemental length dz. So, same thing, this is all the corresponding changes with respect to z axis also, sigma z also changes to this del sigma z by del z into dz, similarly other shear stress components. So, same kind of expression we can write on the other phases also. So, maybe normal to the x axis, even the phases, and another phases normal to the y axis. So, similar way we can express all these changes. So, it means that within this control volume there is some entry velocity within this control entering, and there is some exit also, but exit there is a changes, all these mathematical changes we are considering all these things. So, this is the situation looking into one particular control volume. Now, what we can look into the continuity equation and momentum equation and energy equation can be formed. So, let us considering the parallelepiped of the sides of the dx, dy and dz, that way the Eulerian coordinate system I already explained in the figure 1. Now, equating the mass of the fluid entering to that of the fluid and which is entering to it, and that of the fluid leaving it at time interval dt. So, which is entering one particular phase and what is the leaving the other phase over the time span equal to dt. Then what is happening? So, that is called the equating this mass entering and equating the mass leaving over a time dt, that may consider as a that mass conservation for this particular system. So, let us look into this. So, first, what is the exiting, this is the velocity u. So, now u is the velocity, we can multiply by rho, and we know the rho is the represent the density of the fluid, and density of the fluid or density that means mass per unit volume, this is the representation of this thing. So, basically u into, when you multiply by the rho, then it is converting to this per unit volume. Now, this is the rho u and this rho into u, and then del by del x rho into u. So, this is the changes that if you remember that what is the exit phase, there is a change of the velocity field. So, that is the this change of the velocity field, and that is happening over the dx. Now, it is per unit volume, it is representation is per unit volume, and then it is a dx dy dz this over the phase. That means, it is this exit from the phase. So, that area of this particular phase equal to dy by dz, because it is the normal to the x axis. So, normal to the x axis, the area of the phase equal to dy into dz, and this is happening over the time dt. So, that multiply by dt. So, same thing, this is for the x component, this is for the y component, and this is for the z component. And this thing also rho plus del rho by del t. So, this is changing of the, so that means initially the density was rho, the velocity, but once we exit, then changing the modifying the density rho into del rho by del t into over the time dt. So, this is the changing of the density also we can consider over the volume dx, dy and dz. This is the equivalent to the elemental volume dV. So, this we are looking the entering of the velocity and all these things over the surface, that means over the faces, and this part we can considering that over the volume. This is the changes within this control volume. Now, that is the after the time dt. Now, over the time dt. Now, that is the exit part. So, what is the entering inlet part? So, that was rho u and dy into dz into dt. So, that is the once it is entering velocity within to the control volume. So, the same thing also rho v dx dz into dt, and x component, y component, z component also, and even for the density also. Density if you see dx dy and dz. So, it means that once the entering fluid also in this thing, in that case the this is the over the volume. So, rho into basically d into v. So, this is the mass, all these things changing this thing, but over the time dt there is a change of the density in this particular expression. That is why we consider this as a entering exit and this as a entering rho into this volume. Mass per unit volume is basically equivalent to the mass. Now, once we make this look mass conservation, what is exit and entering this part, make it equal these things. So, in that cases we will be able to get this thing del x by del y into rho v, rho u, del by del z into rho w, dv into dt. So, over the elemental volume and over the time dt, and this also changing of the density over the time this volume elemental volume over the elemental volume over the time dt. Now, the density of the fluid dV represents the elemental volume and this gives the general equation of the mass conservation. But if we take the one particular element or maybe the control volume also, what is entering and what is outsiding or what remains the inside or changing all these things, looking into all these aspects we can follow the mass conservation equation, and then we are getting in the compact form the notation we can find out that del rho by del t and this del by del x I equal to V I, the I equal to 1 2 3. So, that means x 1 x 2 x 3 or x y z. Now, expand this one also other way also in terms of x y z. So, the x component del by rho dz and del rho by del t equal to 0. So, that comes from the elemental volume, and of course, we are considering the time phenomena also. So, transient part also we are considering in this case, then we are getting the following the mass conservation equation, and from there we can getting this particular equation. Now, where x I is the x and v I is the one represent the 3 coordinate axes, that is already, and the components of this velocity in this axial direction. So, v I basically v 1 2 3 the component of the velocity along x, y and z direction. Now, this equation 3 is the continuity. If we consider equation 3 is called the continuity equation, and then if we consider the incompressible flow. So, incompressible flow means there may not be any change in the density of the fluid, that means within the over the time dt, or maybe in that case if it is not changing the density over the time dt, the density remains constant, then that is called the incompressible flow. So, if density remains constant over time with a constant density, then del rho by del t can be equal to 0 also, and even rho becomes constant, the rho just came out of this that's within this integration, and then finally it becomes del u by del x plus del v by del y del w by del z equal to 0. So, this equation we can say the continuity equation, and different form this continuity equation we can form in the index form also del v I by del x I equal to 0 in the index form. In the vector terminology is a dot product of this gradient into velocity vector equal to 0. So, that represents the continuity equation. Now, condition expressed by equation 5 and 6 can also be referred to as the incompressibility condition as well. So, because in this case incompressibility condition simply we understand the density remains the constant. So, that is the once we get the continuity conservation equation, then we look into the momentum conservation equation. So, in momentum conservation equation, when we derive particular cases, we are assuming the fluid is incompressible fluid. Now, considering the force equilibrium and equating the sum of the forces acting or particular elementary part, that what we have considered in this particular element, and we can look into the individual direction, what is the force balance along the x, y and z direction, and if it becomes 0, then we can say we can reach the force equilibrium condition. Then from that we can find out by following the momentum conservation equation, we can find out the momentum equation associated with this fluid flow problem. Now, what are the different components are there? We can do the similar kind of the exercise, maybe what is the entering and what is the exit from this thing. If we do make the difference between those two and equating it equal to 0, then it is possible to conserve the momentum conservation is possible to consider. Now, what are the different components? So, in this case you can see the del sigma x by del x. So, the in terms of the stress also del sigma x by del x into dx over the length dx, and this is acting over the faces also. Then we can multiply the area of this face normal to the x axis, the dy dz. So, similar kind of things can also be considered, because there are all, this is the only for the normal stress component. So, similar kind of phenomena may happen due to the shear stress component. So, that shear stress component also do, if we do the similar way, because remember the normal stress and shear stress component, the difference is that normal stress acting normal to the face and shear stress is acting parallel to the face. So, accordingly you have to consider the area. So, in this case changing over the dy, and then but this is the happening over the particular parallel to the face is the dx dz. Here also other cases for this particular stress component dx dy. So, these are the normal stress, these other two shear stress components, and plus two other component, internal component also. Maybe we can say that the inertial forces, we can consider changes of the inertial forces Cx into rho, Cx inertial forces, and rho into dV. Basically we represent the rho is the mass per unit volume, and then when you multiply by the volume, so it becomes mass. So, then this is the inertial forces Cx into rho, and Fx into rho in the basically any kind of the external body forces per unit volume. So, then this Fx into rho, that represents the external body forces per unit volume. So, when you multiply by the volume, so it represents the forces, so external body forces. So, that means there may be different form of the energy or forces, maybe there driving forces may be there within this whirlpool. So, that we can consider in the form of volume, the distributed over the volume. So, from that point of view we can consider this as a body forces also acting all these things. So, apart from that there may be some sort of the inertial forces also, because there is a flow of the motion, fluid motion is there. So, looking into all this aspect, the changes in terms of the stress and strain also, then we can find out the momentum conservation equation, and such that unit volume acting in the direction normal to the axis del sigma del is the net difference in the stress sigma x acting opposite faces of the area dy dz. So, that means normal to the x axis, and dV is the elemental volume. So, dx dy and dz, that is the elemental volume, represents the dV. Now, this is the expression for the momentum conservation equation from that point of view. Now, since Cx is a function of position and time, so inertial forces we are talking about, because there is a flow of the motion, there is a fluid flow thing is there. So, and inertial forces can be considered like that, the along the x direction. So, it is the acceleration in the x direction is the total differential velocity component with respect to time t. So, that means we can represent this inertial forces Cx along x axis. Cx is simply du by dt, simply change of the velocity components with respect to time, du by dt. So, that is the total differential of the velocity with respect to time. Now, negative sign indicates that the inertial force per unit mass acts in direction opposite to the acceleration. So, that is why we have considered the minus sign here also. If you see, this is the negative sign is there, negative sign, we are assuming that the negative, that inertial forces per unit mass acts in direction opposite to that of the acceleration. So, that is why negative sign is there, but Cx, how we can represent the Cx also, simply du by dt. Now, this is a total derivative du by dt. So, now look into this total derivative into in term form of a partial derivative also. So, that means u can be a function of the u and space, because u can be a function of maybe we can say that x, y, z and t. So, from that point we can say that du by dt. So, del u by del t plus del u by del x into del x by del t. So, finally, it is coming del u by del t. So, that even del u by del t also. So, dy del u by del t in say del z also there. So, this is the from total derivative to the in the form of a partial derivative. So, then velocity u can be represented like that. So, now substituting del x by del t. So, similarly, in that case is del x by del t. We can see this also velocity along x axis, this is can be represented like the u velocity component. So, similarly, del y by del t, del z by del t, all the velocity components. So, u, v and w along the x, y and z direction. So, from there we can find out what is the value of the Cx. Cx du by dt. So, del u by del t is there, one partial derivative, simply del x by del t equal to u. So, u into del u by del x, v into del u by del y, and w into del u by del z. So, that is why we can represent all this u, v and this all velocity components also. So, now we replace the Cx in terms of the u, v, w and t also, then replace this part also is there, and even there is a stress components also there, and this is the body forces over the elemental volume dV equal to 0. Or we can see this thing also, del sigma x by del x, and look, this is the, I think corresponds to the along the x axis, this equation, and this equation correspond to the y direction, this is the x direction, and this is correspond to the z direction. So, basically you are getting the three different equation making the momentum conservation with along the x, y and z direction, then we will be able to reach this kind of equation. Now, we can find out the difference of this expression also, del u by del t, the here del v by del t, here del w by del t, and other cases also u, here all the cases there is a v and the z direction and z. So, that is the w. So, that are the different expression we can find out the similar way, what if we perform this thing, what is happening for along the x axis, the similar strategy we can find, we can adopt to find out the components or make this kind of equation along the y as well as the z direction. Now, the compact tensor notation using all these three equations can be written in this particular way also, rho del v by del t, v m velocity component x m and del sigma I j x a and rho f I, but till we are representing where I is equal to 1, 2, 3 and v m represent the velocity components say u, v and w. So, then actually till we are representing this equation in terms till we are using the stress also. So, in this case we are using the stress notation. In terms of the stress, we are representing this momentum conservation equation. Now, we will try to look into the different form of the momentum conservation equation, which actually we will be using to solve the to develop the finite element model in case of the fluid flow problem. Before that, we try to look into that the energy equation. Now, energy equation we can see the similar kind of one small element we consider, and we are considering what is the energy input from one side, what is the energy output from the other side also, and whether is there any internal strain energy is there inside the element also, that we have to consider. From that similar point of view, similar kind of the exercise what we have done in case of the momentum equation also. Only this, there the momentum we look into the force equilibrium for this particular element, but in this cases we try to look into the energy balance within this what way we can within the particular element, and from that point of view we can estimate the energy conservation equation, follow these things. Now, if we consider the control volume for the particular figure 2 also, then energy balance for the same can be considered like that. What is the net energy gain? That can be strain energy input minus energy loss through the phases. So, net strain energy gain during this maybe passage of the fluid flow, passage of the material from this one point to the another, continuously flowing the material is there, and we pick up one particular focus on the small element, and we are trying to look into what is happening on this particular element. Then in that particular element, for the energy conservation equation, we can see that what is the net energy gain through the passage of the fluid through this control volume, that is there any strain energy input or maybe an increment of the strain energy, or there is a strain energy incremental strain energy within this control volume minus the what is the loss of the energy through the phases, because material is continuously flowing from one phase to another phases. So, because of that, what is the loss of the energy through this thing. So, it is simply like that only, net energy gain rho into del E by E is the energy per unit, U can be considered, small e can be considered energy per unit mass. So, del E by del T over the time, the this thing del E by del T, the change of the this thing over energy and with respect to time, dV over the elemental volume and dt over the time dt. So, that is the total net energy gain, that is equal to the strain energy is there within this element, and this indicates what is the energy loss. So, energy loss mean input minus out minus in, out minus in, out minus in, it means the considering the x respectively along the x, y and z direction. So, E is the energy per unit mass and delta EV is the incremental strain energy. So, now del E by del E T minus into dV into dt is the equal to the incremental strain energy input, and definitely it is in this cases minus the loss of the energy. Now, once if you look into the energy component, the output minus E out minus E in along the particular direction can be expressed by the sum of the two components, the motion of the fluid entering and exiting the control volume. Because of that energy component we can consider. Other is the diffusion in and diffusion out of the system. For example, diffusion in and diffusion out of the system can be considered like, is there any heat flux, heat flow by conduction from within the volume. So, we consider the what is the heat conduction in terms of the flux within this control volume also, that we can consider as a diffusion in and diffusion out within this control volume. Therefore, the first component will be represented E1x and the second component will be E2x. So, this means this is the 1x means is the simply because of the fluid entering and exiting of the control volume, what is the basically energy gain or loss within this control volume, that we have to look. And second point is the because of the diffusion in and out of the system by considering the heat conduction, because in fluid flow problem also the it's may not the when the entering and exit of the fluid, it is not at the same temperature, there is the variation of the temperature. So, that can be considered if there is a variation of the temperature. So, heat conduction may happen within this elemental volume also, that part we have to consider. So, that can consider as a energy either loss or gain within this control volume, that we will see. So, that means two components of the energies are there in this particular energy this thing. So, looking into the first one component E1x because of the fluid motion, the energy balance. So, rho E into change of the energy with respect to, because over the spatial domain dx even this thing, and at the same time there is a change of the velocity also in the spatial domain. One is the exit. So, here is the velocity was u and there is a when entry level and exit from this particular phase, the velocity will change, and del u by even it is suppose this is the over elemental length dx, so del u by del x into dx. So, this is the velocity for the exit. So, this is the velocity, this is the energy from this exit, and velocity components into dy dz, the particular area over the time dt, and that rho E, this is the initial energy, the input rho, here is the energy E, and there also variation of the energy E also, in this case is E plus del E by del x into dx, that is the spatial distribution of the energy and changes of the energy. Similarly, u was the initial velocity and dy dz was the area and dt was the time. So, same kind of exercise we can do, what is the exit happening and what is the input. So, because of the fluid motion, this energy we are considering because of the fluid motion. So, now if we do manipulate all this thing, we can reach this kind of expression also, dx dy dz into dt and rho u del E by del x, and from this in the manipulation we can get this kind of expression. Now, again looking into the diffusion, the heat diffusion within this elemental volume also, that can be considered like that, the heat flux. So, del by del x, so basically this thing, and this represent the q, the heat flux, and or maybe the k into del T by del x, we know the Fourier heat conduction equation, from there we can show the q equal to the heat flux minus k into del T by del x. What is the del T by del x equal to temperature gradient along the x axis, and k is the thermal conductivity and negative sign, because the temperature gradient is a negative, that is why you consider negative. So, it basically indicates the heat flux within this thing domain. So, this heat flux, and if you look into the heat flux here, q k into del T by del x per unit area, we can see these things, and then one is to multiply dx dy dz over the volume also we can, and over the time dt, and then total energy can be calculated, del by del x is a change, del by del x into this. So, basically qx as the heat flux. So, we should write the qx because heat flux along the x axis also. So, minus k into del T by del x. So, E2x can also be represented that del q by del x into dx dy dz elemental volume into dt. So, that way also we can see the effective diffusion energy may be considered like that E2x this way. So, therefore, x component E output energy output minus energy in can be expressed in the sum of the pair E1x and E2x, and that can be represented like that out minus in. So, E1x in is this one over the elemental volume dV and over the into the time dt over the time dt. So, that is the energy input energy component we can estimate. Now, equivalent form of the based on the heat flux also we can see the simply we are not writing k into del T by del x, the looking Fourier heat conduction we place directly in terms of the heat flux instead of writing in the k del T by del x. So, that equation. So, this equation can be replaced minus q x. So, that we can write in this way also input output this thing. So, similar expression can be obtained in case of other direction or other components maybe in y and z direction. So, therefore, this is the one part and that is another component of the energy, the incremental strain energy component of equation 13 also we can see we have seen the incremental strain energy can also be there. So, del EV that it is the incremental strain energy and which is the del incremental strain energy from this particular Governing equation, that equation 13 also, and we can see the incremental strain energy component of 13 can be written as the sum of the products of individual stress and components with the corresponding strain in the incremental time. So, incremental over the incremental time dt what is the incremental stress and strain energy, we can basically we can consider the incremental strain energy. This being the incremental strain energy per unit volume, the net incremental strain energy can be given like this. So, summation of sigma stress state and the del epsilon into del T. So, del the strain del T. So, it is basically represent the strain rate actually and the stress, because we know the stress into d epsilon we have already shown the when we make this one we if you know the stress field also and the incremental strain. So, sigma into incremental strain that indicates the strain energy per unit volume and that is incremental form because we are considering the d epsilon. So, incremental strain. So, from there strain energy per unit volume we can see that what once we look into the strain energy per unit volume and then when you divided by del T also. So, strain energy rate basically and then we can multiply into dV elemental volume into dt, that indicates the total strain energy. But the stress state may have not the it is not a single dimensional case, but stress state can be the different component different shear stress and normal stress components also. So, that can be expressed like that also, sigma x del epsilon x in del T and sigma y this thing. Similarly, the normal stress components and the strain according to the shear stress component and the shear strain component also, and if you see here the all the cases we represent all this thing the partial derivative form. So, that means this partial derivative form independently maybe individually you can we are considering all the stress and strain components such that this is happening over the dV and into over the time dt. So, this all stress components can be represented in this way also, that in general form or index form we can say the sigma ij into del epsilon ij into del T into dV into dt. So, that is the expression of the incremental strain energy. So, now if we substitute all this expression in incremental we have the this thing rho del E by del T into dV into dt. So, that we can see also, and that is the expression 13 we are considering. From there this is the incremental strain energy and this is the energy in and out balance, and that means from there. And so, this is the expression equation 13 energy equation can be written in this way considering. But if you look into del U by del x, this equal to 0, because if you follow the continuity equation also. Now, applying the continuity condition we can modify this equation rho del E by del T. So, it is a net gain or strain energy gain of the energy, the incremental strain energy in the other part, and finally, we can read this is the energy equation. So, you can see that this energy equation in general form can be written like that, this one sigma ij j and the velocity components also there and the heat flux also there, the diffusion components of the shear stress, all this all components are also there. Now, it is a different way we can represent this energy equation also. Now, This is the general form of the energy equation associated with this any kind of the problem also. Now, looking into the different kind of the problem, that from this basic equation we can convert, we can simplify further also, looking into this particular problem also, or putting into other condition we can further simplify. Now, once we develop this, we already looked into that what way the this momentum conservation equation is formed. Now, this momentum conservation equation form can be represented in case of the viscous flow problem, and in that case what is the Navier-Stokes equation we can find out. We can, this Navier-Stokes equation actually can be expressed in the different way from the equation number 12, such that we can get the velocity component, and this velocity component is also there, and the pressure is also comes into the picture. The velocity components in terms of the velocity, and this mu is the viscosity, and then this is the, this represents the force per the body force basically per unit volume. So, body force. So, this if you look into this thing, the way we replacing the stress components, and in the form of the all the velocity components, we can represent the Navier-Stokes equation, and this Navier-Stokes equation may be applicable in case of the viscous flow problem. So, that is why we have used this viscosity, this property here also, the viscosity is there in this case. Now, this Navier-Stokes equation mostly used in to solve kind of the fluid problem, and maybe I can say that it is more associated with the welding process also. If we solve this Navier-Stokes equation, it is to associated with the fusion welding process. Now, under the condition of the incompressibility. So, now if we follow the incompressibility condition, when we keeping incompressibility condition means keeping density as a constant, then we can further modify this equation. See, this equation is also there, the velocity components, rho into this, rho v, all these things, this part is there, the pressure component is also there, and then del x a mu this thing, and rho, this is the components, and we can see this under when the compressibility condition, actually this is not required at all, this becomes 0. So, that part, or maybe we can say that we can neglect this particular part of this equation, then we can further simplify this equation, Navier-Stokes equation. So, viscosity is constant, we are trying to represent what is this term. This term can be further simplified if viscosity is constant. So, viscosity is constant, keep the viscosity outside this integrand, and then do the exercise. In these cases we will be able to find out this thing del Vi by del x, but if you see there is a basically this is the component, but what about this component? This component becomes 0, because if you put the continuity equation also, continuity condition, or follow the continuity equation, from there this term becomes 0. So, finally, we can simplify this part to this one single component. Now, this equation 21 can be expressed like this. You can see that left hand side this component is there, that velocity component with varying with respect to time t, and this is the also velocity component del Vi with del xm, pressure component also there, and the viscosity, and this is the body force. So, all this 22 and 23 are forms of the incompressible flow in this case, and then even viscosity remains constant, then in that cases we can further simplify this equation. This is the particular, this is the Navier, this kind of equation is applicable, because fluid flow problem we normally consider as a viscous flow problem. So, if we consider the viscous flow problem, and at the same time if we assume this is a laminar flow, in that case we can solve this form of the Navier-Stokes equation, and we will be able to find out what is the velocity field. So, this is the very general expression which may be useful in the fluid flow problem associated with the fusion welding process. So, here this, if you see in the fluid flow problem, there is a need for the viscosity property of this particular liquid metal, viscous properties of the liquid metal is basically needed. So, from if you solve this equation 23, we will be able to get what is the velocity field also. But along with the this momentum equation, if you follow, if you solve the energy equation also, from their energy equation we will be able to find out the temperature field also in case of this welding problem. So, that temperature field once we look into this thing, but in this if you follow it up the energy equation also, there are also some velocity components are also there. So, both we can get the temperature in from the energy equation, you will be able to know what is the temperature field also, but in that cases there is a need to know what is the velocity field. So, that is why combining strategies also required the momentum conservation equation as well as the energy equation, such that velocity field the velocity field is the input to solve the energy equation with the particular domain also. So, that is why it is very important. Or if we okay. So, before doing the next part, if we look into the very carefully the energy equation as well the this momentum conservation equation, and both the cases there is a need of the velocity field. So, some sort of strategy is required between the energy equation and the momentum equation to get the temperature field from the energy equation, but at the same time to get the velocity field from the momentum equation and the utilization of the velocity field to the energy equation to get the temperature distribution. So, that is why if you follow, for example, if you do not consider about only the heat conduction equation, then means if you neglect the velocity part in a fusion welding problem also, in that cases when you are solving the energy equation, so you will be get the output only the temperature distribution. So, and that may not be very accurate, but if you consider the velocity field also, then there is a need to solve the fluid flow problem. The Navier-Stokes equation has to be solved, or momentum conservation equation has to be solved to get the flow field, and that flow field can be fed or input to the energy equation, such that once we solve the energy equation, we will be get the more refined, or maybe I can the more accurate the temperature field if we consider the velocity field in the energy equation. So, that is the relation between the velocity field as well the energy equation associated with the fluid flow problem. Now, try to look into this natural coordinate system and the master element to solve a heat conduction problem. So, now we have seen the overall idea that how the elemental things can be formed also. Now, if you consider a particular element and looking into this particular element, how this matrix can be formed, and by introducing the natural coordinate system. It is simply mapping from the global coordinate system, means the your domain of the analysis, which is you have already decided the Cartesian coordinate system that in different node points having the x, y, z value, and based on that we have shown that shape function can be formed also. But each and every element can be represented map with the one local coordinate system. So, transformation from the global coordinate system to the local coordinate system is necessary to understand, to estimate the thing what is happening for one particular element. So, that we will discuss in this particular problem. Now, natural coordinate system for two dimensional element. Let us look into the natural coordinate system. We consider the one rectangular element, say for example, along the x and y axis, that represents the global coordinate system x and y. Now, shape function have the magnitude of the 1 at the node point to which it belongs to, and at all other node point it becomes 0. So, shape function becomes 1 and either 1 or becomes 0. This means that expression which has a magnitude of 1 at a node and 0 at all other node can be used as a shape function. So, something like that. Looking into the property of the shape function, you have to choose in such a that shape function value one particular node point it is becomes 1, and remaining all other node points it becomes 0. To looking into these aspects, so we have to can be that can be defined, or maybe it is basically easier to mapping to look into the different functional form. Now, such shape function can be used to write the expression for the displacement or the temperature field. So, either you can consider as a displacement field or as a temperature field, can be like that I equal to 1 to p n I u I. So, u I either displacement field in the node point, or it can be temperature field also, where n I is the ith shape function. So, particular if you know there is u I is the nodal displacement and shape function for a particular node, and u I is the nodal value of the parameter u at a ith node, basically at the I node, and p represents the number of nodes in that particular element. So, we are trying to focusing on the what is happening one particular element. So, one particular element having the p number of nodes, for example, and if it is a brick element, there may be 8 number of nodes also, and in that cases p can vary also depending upon the type of the element. Now, so this is the expression also, even t can also represent like temperature variation can represent I similar way I equal to 1 to p and that n I T I, same way we can represent whether T I whether U I. So, now here if you see that define this is the this point having some global value also, this is the particular element, one particular element, and each node point having some coordinate in term global coordinate system in terms of some x y value with respect to the whole domain of the analysis. But with this particular domain we can do in such a way that we can introduce some kind of the axis system, that x 0 y 0, that is the CG of this particular node point, and that CG x 0 y 0 represent at the center point, and we can use the two axis system, the xi and eta system, xi axis and the eta axis, such that the variation of this can vary from this zeta from 1 to 1 direction, it can vary from -1 to +1 with respect to this point, and other axis also there is a -1 to +1. So, it is a simply clear mapping of this global coordinate system to the local coordinate system. So, in this cases this axis system xi and eta axis that can be considered as a local coordinate system, such that it can vary from -1 to +1 in that particular range, and we define the system is not at the center point CG, this is the origin of this particular coordinate system, and accordingly we can define the node number 1, 2, 3, 4 for this particular element, and such that with respect to that coordinate system we can see this is the 1 -1 1 1. So, this is the positive 1 1 plus plus minus plus plus minus minus minus, that way we can do the coordinate of this different part of the coordinate. So, accordingly we can decide this mapping. Now, but how what we can map this thing. So, assuming this the edge length equal to twice S2 and this edge length is basically for example twice S1. Now, we will see what we can map from global to the local coordinate system. Now, the rectangular element shown is this figure has the 4 nodes 1, 2, 3, 4. The length of the sides are 2S1 and 2S2 that we have already seen. The nodal coordinates are denoted by the x1, y1 etc. So, different if it is node 1, then we can say the coordinate is the x1, y1, that is the global value, x2, y2, something like that, 3 also x3, y3 and 4 x4, y4 like that. But if the coordinates of the centroid are x0, y0. So, for example, coordinate of the centroid x0, y0, then we can define the two parameters, that the xi and eta in such a way, the xi can be mapping in this way, the x minus x0 by S1 and eta equal to y minus y0 by S2. So, it is like that only xi and eta can be mapped in this way. So, once we equal to x minus x0 by S1. Now, you can see that the xi, if it is x equal to x0 and then center, then xi equal to 0, and but if x equal to S1, then what will happen? It becomes S1 minus x0 by S1. Now, what is the value of x0 in terms of S1, S2, and we can see that it can vary from 0 to 1, xi becomes 1 at the edge, at the corner point or maybe node point. Similarly, either 1 plus 1 or minus 1 depending upon the position, whether node point 1, 2, 3 or 4. Similarly, eta can be mapped like that, y minus y0 by S2. Now, thus the shape function of these different nodes of the rectangular element can be given like this only. So, that means xi and eta in terms of the xi and eta. So, we can say this is a local coordinate system, and then using this local coordinate system we can represent the shape function n1 equal to 1 by 4, 1 minus this particular element, rectangular element, and then 1 minus xi, 1 minus eta, such that if xi equal to 1 plus 1 equal to 1, then n1 becomes 0 like that. So, that means variation is there, different values of the xi eta, and we can see the xi equal to minus 1, eta equal to minus 1, then n1 can become and n1 can become, it both are minus 1, then the plus 2 into 2 by 4, then n1 become 1 by 4 by 2 into 2, it becomes 1, 4 by 4 it becomes 1. Similarly, at the this thing, if xi becomes 0, eta becomes 0, then what is happening, n becomes 1 by 4. So, like that there is a shape function at the different nodes of a rectangular element can be written in terms of the local coordinate system like this. So, different form. So, plus minus depends on the, in general form it can be written, but plus minus depends on the which part, whether it is what we can define the different coordinate also we can see, whether this part is the plus plus, this part is the minus plus, you can divide in this 4, this is the minus minus, this is the plus minus. So, accordingly these coordinates can be given plus plus, minus plus and minus minus, plus minus. So, that is why we can map also with the local coordinate system, we can represent the different shape function in terms of this parameter. Now, thus the variation of this along the edge of the rectangle is linear. So, they can be used as a linear shape functions for the rectangular element, even it is shown in figure 1. So, therefore, using equation 1 we can express u in terms of the xi and eta. So, you can be represent the displacement in terms of xi and eta, say p, q, r, s are the constant term, and in terms of the xi eta we can evaluate the value of the p, q, r, s constant expressed in terms of the nodal values of the displacement u. So, this way we can treat simply we can introduce the some local coordinate system such that each and every element we use the local coordinate system, then it will be easier to make the integrand over this particular problem. Now, coordinate transformation is something like that. The purpose of the transformation of the mesh into a master element is the solely for the purpose of the numerically evaluating the integrals. So, that will be easier. So, all the coordinate transformation is required in this case. So, no transformation of the physical domain of elements is involved. So, it is like that only. Suppose this is the domain of the analysis, we have divided the different elements, and then we have the different node points 3, 4, say 5, 6, 7, 8. So, we can consider one particular element. Similarly, some names are also there 8, say 9, 10, 11, 12, say 13, 14, 15, 16 like that, 17, 18, 19, 20. So, these are the neighborhoods. So, we pick up one particular node, say the one particular element. So, that 5, this is the global number 11, 3 and 10. So, then in this particular element we can make the strategy for, say this is giving the local numbering 1, this is the second one, this is the third one, this is the fourth one, particular sequence we can follow. Then you can follow the local coordinate system for this case such that mapping in such a way that it can vary from -1 to +1, and here also +1 to -1, such that xi and eta local coordinate system. So, we can develop with the particular sequencing, local numbering and local system we can follow develop on the one particular element, and then we will be following for the all element the similar kind of the strategy such that it will be easy to conduct do some evaluating the integrals over this particular case. So, that is the purpose of transforming all this thing global system into the local coordinate system or introducing the local coordinate system. So, resulting algebraic equation of the finite element formulation are always among the nodal values of the physical domain, that is always there also. Once you get all these things, we can once for one element we consider, then contribution for the all the node point can be divided during the assembly in the global position. So, the global position in this particular element equal to say 3, 10, 11 and 5. So, according to the global position we will put all the nodal values according to the global position when you try to assemble for the contribution for all the elements. So, that is the procedure. In these cases we are not actually transforming for the all the I think not among values of physical, this equation of the finite domain formation are always among the nodal values of the physical domain. So, there is no transformation of the physical domain or elements is basically not involved. Only thing is that one master element we identify and we do all this local coordinate system, this particular system develop, and we will be following one particular sequence for local numbering for all the elements, and then once we contribution for the all the elements, then keep on assembling for a particular for all the elements, then we get the equation. You can see the also coordinate transformation the similar the mathematically we can express like this. Suppose this is the actual domain, one particular domain, pick up this domain, we can transport this thing local coordinate system, coordinate transformation. Here you can see that this thing. So, domain the xi and eta can be a function of x and y also, because x and y is the actual global coordinate system and we have the information, the data of the x and y. So, x can be represented also as a function of the xi eta, and y can be represented as a function of the xi eta in this particular, and along the edge also we can see that x equal to in terms of the eta equal to 1, but there is a variation of the xi. Even along the y edge, along the y axis, the variation of the same thing, variation of the eta equal to 1, xi variation of these things. So, along this particular edge, the variation of x is this only variation of this eta, here is the y variation of the eta, this thing, and this particular element dx dy, but in actual these things with Jacobian j, which can be represented in the form of in the coordinate terms of this thing, and d xi z eta is the elemental. So, this is the, so here we will be doing the area represent the d eta and d xi and z eta. So, that represent that element in terms of the local coordinate system we can take her, but this j determinant of this thing, there is a need to consider the global information, that means the actual coordinate system information is required. So, this way we can transfer from the global things in the local coordinate system, and then after that we will perform the integration, because this once we particularly the volume integral or surface integral in this particular domain. So, this is a well defined Gauss quadrature rule, then this particular value, the domain is defined because domain is -1 to +1 with this particular domain. We can put the because each and every domain we represent this thing in the local coordinate system between the -1 to +1, such that we put the weightage value of the, when you try to do numerical integration of this particular over the area or over the volume of a particular element. So, that is the advantage of transforming from the global to the local, or picking up looking into one master element to convert into the local coordinate system, and then utilize the same concept or same thing for all the elements. So, that is the purpose of doing the coordinate transformation for or defining one master element during this particular analysis. Next we will see that how one particular element we can calculate, we will pick up one particular element, we will calculate the what are the contribution of the different contribution, say conductivity matrix or other kind of the matrix in case of the heat conduction process. So, thank you very much for your kind attention. I think that is all for today. Thank you.